Back to the Jenny V Show. It is so wonderful to have you back here at episode 7. If you haven't listened to episode 6, it was all focused on is making it look like you've got it all together actually ruining your business. So if you haven't listened, jump back over. Today, however, we're talking about the inner critic versus the inner coach and who is really leading your business. So there's a wonderful coach by Robin Sharma, and it's about our mind. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And this really reverts to how our unconscious mind is really ruling what we're doing, and we're being a servant to what our mind is saying to us instead of really becoming a master of our minds. And the way that you can master your mind is to really step in being that coach. Have you ever launched something that's been really, truly amazing, but you find yourself actually whispering to yourself, who do you even think you are? Like, what are you even doing here? Why do you think that you can actually achieve this? I know that I have so many times that's happened to me. But this voice, it's not truth, and it's not your instinct either. It is actually your inner critic. And chances are it is actually running a really large part of your business. In today's episode, I want to help you identify who's really leading your business. Is it your inner critic, or is it your inner coach? And more importantly, how are we going to change it? So there was a time in my business when I really looked like everything was thriving. But behind the scenes, I was overthinking every single thing that I did. I was rewriting emails 10 times. I was putting it to ChatGPT because I didn't trust what I was saying. I was holding back from really big opportunities, and I missed out on so much. And it's not because I lacked strategy. It was because the critic in my head was way louder than the coach. She was always second guessing me. She was always telling me that I was not doing it right, or somebody was doing it better, or who do I even think I am stepping into this new business? And it wasn't until I really started hearing myself, thinking, what are you saying to yourself? A big one that used to come up to me is like, be careful not to sound too confident. So I'd always hold myself back. What if it flops? So I just wouldn't take those big opportunities. And people would think, that especially the Australian way, people are going to think you're full of yourself if you're successful. And this is a big reason why I held myself back. Does it sound familiar? And this is your inner critic. It's not what other people are telling you, it's what you're actually telling yourself. And this is something that you can shift and change if you're ready to become the coach of your mind. So according to Dr. Ethan Kross, he's a psychologist, he's also the author of Chatter. The average person receives 60,000 thoughts a day. So that's what they're really listening to themselves, 60,000 thoughts a day. And a majority of these are negative. So you can imagine how many thoughts that you're having that are negative in that 60,000 thoughts. And these negative thoughts are repetitive. So you might just have that continued thought like, don't look too confident. Don't look like you've got it all together. Who do you think that you're doing that? Imagine that going around 60,000 times in your head in a day. Really phenomenal, isn't it? You're going to believe it. Inner critic comes up with a part of the brain called the default mode network. This kicks in when we're not actively focused. It's tied to the rumination of self-judgment. But here's the good news about this. When you activate the conscious awareness, so we've spoken about that a lot in my previous podcasts, you shift from default, so that unconscious behavior, to design. So you can actually design your mind, you can design your life, from criticism to coaching, and from fear to influence. And this is where mind body framework comes in, because I really love to focus on how we can become masters of our mind, how we can become masters of our nervous system, and how we can really bring in that energetic and mindset of the embody framework. So I would love to give you 3 steps here. First of all, why don't you give her a persona? So this inner critic, instead of her being a part of you, make her something else. So what could she be? What could her name be? My inner critic, her name's Julie, and I speak to Julie often when she's in there talking to me about what I can't do. Is she the pleaser? Is your Julie the pleaser? Is she the perfectionist? Is she the prover? Find out who she is and give her a name. The name creates that that distance, that observation, so you can become an observer of her and actually speak to her when she's really coming in your mind. Neuroscience shows that leading emotions calms the amygdala and reduces your stress response. This applies to inner dialogue too. So train your inner coach. This is number 2. Your inner coach speaks in truth, in clarity, and in vision. So ask, what's the most empowered move I can make today? What would the future me choose right now? And make sure that she's loud and she's wise. And number 3, I want you to choose your leadership over loops. So instead of saying those loops of negative, let's find a leadership move. Every time you choose your inner coach, you're activating that self-leadership. You move from being reactive to being responsible and responsive. So you're not reacting to everything that comes your way. And leadership at its core is that daily decision to use the voice that builds, not breaks. So this is really a great tool for you to be able to take away and start implementing, start speaking to your Julie, start being a coach and coaching her to shift to more positive language. So I have a little practice for you, as I love to do at the end of each of my podcasts. And what I'd like you to do is create a voice tracker journal. So this is at the end of each day for 5 days. I want you to reflect on your inner critic. And what did she show up as today? What did she say? What did my inner critic show up and say to me? And what were the actions? What were the different actions that you could make instead? You'll be amazed at how self-awareness changes absolutely everything. This episode speaks directly to the mindset, ownership, and new pillars of my Embody framework. When you begin leading with your inner coach, you step into radical self-responsibility. And that's the foundation of embodied leadership. And I want that for you. If this episode hits home for you, I'd love for you to hear from you. I'd love you to share it with somebody else that would really resonate with, and that they can grow and evolve and stop letting that inner critic take over and start the inner coach. Please screenshot or tag me on Instagram and tag Danny V Coach with your biggest takeaway. I would love to hear what you are taking away. But it starts by choosing your voice every single time. You are the lead. So I want to leave you with this question. Who is really leading your business? And always remember that you have a voice. You are the leader, and it's your time to take radical responsibility. Until next time, I can't wait to hear what your takeaway is of today's inner critic versus inner coach.